In the heart of the city, wedged between towering concrete buildings and hidden behind an iron gate covered in ivy, lay a garden that few people knew existed. To most, it was just a forgotten courtyard. But those who were lucky enough to stumble upon it would find a place unlike any other, a garden where whispers floated in the air and words appeared on leaves like letters written in dew. Emma Parker had always loved exploring hidden corners of the city. She worked as a researcher at the local museum, specializing in urban legends and folklore. One day, while reading through the dusty archives, she found an old map that marked the garden's location. The map was over a century old, and the garden was labeled simply as Eden's Hollow. Intrigued, Emma decided to seek out the forgotten spot, armed with little more than her curiosity and an old journal to document her findings. After days of searching, she finally located the ivy-covered gate. It was tucked between two abandoned buildings on an empty street. Heart pounding with excitement, she pushed the gate open and stepped inside. The garden was enchanting, with flowers and plants she had never seen before. Vines climbed the walls, and small, colorful birds flitted through the trees. But what caught her attention most were the leaves. On the surface of each leaf, faint words shimmered, as if they had been written in silver ink. Emma leaned in, her eyes widening as she read the words. "Welcome, seeker of secrets." A chill ran down her spine. She hadn't spoken a word, yet the garden seemed to know her purpose. She took out her journal and started to write, determined to record every detail. As she moved through the garden, more messages appeared. Some were warnings, others questions. Some leaves bore names, while others held phrases that sounded like pieces of poetry. One message stood out among the rest. "Find the heart of Eden's Hollow, where truth waits in silence." Intrigued and a bit wary, Emma continued deeper into the garden. The plants seemed to shift as she moved, as if guiding her along an invisible path. At the center of the garden, she found a stone pedestal, overgrown with moss and vines. On the pedestal rested a small, crystal-clear pool, the surface so still that it reflected the sky above. Emma leaned over, mesmerized. She noticed that the water's surface began to ripple slightly, and as it did, words started to form in the reflection. Those who seek answers must be prepared for what they find. She frowned, feeling a sense of caution mixed with her excitement. She had read about places like this, a hidden sanctuary, a mystical garden of sorts, but she'd never expected to encounter one in real life. She reached out to touch the water, and as her fingers brushed the surface, she felt a gentle warmth spread through her hand, as if the garden itself were welcoming her. In the depths of the pool, she saw something glinting, a key, small and ancient, resting on the bottom. Without thinking, she dipped her hand into the water, grasping the key and pulling it out. It was cool to the touch, with intricate carvings along the edges. As she held the key, a new message appeared on the leaves of a nearby plant. "The key unlocks the past, but beware of what you bring to light." Emma's heart raced. Was there more to the garden than she had imagined? She decided to follow the message and search for a door or gate that the key might open. As she moved through the garden, she felt a strange sensation, a sense of being watched, though no one else was there. Finally, she found a small, hidden door in the stone wall at the far end of the garden. It was almost invisible, covered in ivy, but the keyhole gleamed faintly. Emma took a deep breath, inserted the key, and turned it. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit passageway lined with stone walls. The air was cool and smelled faintly of earth and old paper. She stepped inside, her footsteps echoing softly as she moved down the passage. The walls were covered in faded murals, depicting scenes of the city from centuries past. She could see images of people walking through gardens, much like the one she had just left, their faces serene and joyful. At the end of the passage, she found a small chamber with a wooden desk and stacks of yellowed parchment. On the desk lay an old journal, its cover cracked and faded. Emma picked it up carefully, her hands trembling with anticipation. As she opened the journal, she saw that it was filled with messages similar to the one she had seen in the garden. Each entry seemed to be addressed to someone specific, as if the garden had been a place of secrets and confessions for generations. One entry caught her eye. It was addressed to a woman named Lillian, and it read, "You were right about the heart of the garden. Its secrets are ours to keep, but only if we are willing to carry its weight." Emma felt a chill. She realized that the garden had been more than a sanctuary. It had been a place where people shared their deepest fears, hopes, and regrets. The messages she had seen on the leaves were echoes of those who had come before her, leaving behind pieces of themselves in the garden. But as she read further, she found a final warning. The garden remembers all who enter. Its secrets are not for the faint of heart. Once you enter, you carry its memories with you forever. Emma closed the journal, feeling the weight of the words settle over her. She understood now that the garden had not only granted her a glimpse into its history, but had also claimed a part of her, binding her to its mysteries. As she left the chamber and returned to the garden, she felt a newfound respect and a touch of fear. She knew she could never reveal the true nature of Eden's Hollow, for its secrets were meant to remain hidden, guarded by those who had been chosen by the garden itself.